everyone. If you're coming back to my channel, welcome back. And if you are new, welcome. I've made a few videos so far here on this channel, kind of touching on a variety of different topics, but I'm hoping today to bring some sort of new, interesting content, which will be a travel video. So you'll see some fun montages and photos included in the next few clips, but I wanted to welcome you all. My name is Gabrielle, and over the weekend my husband and I met up with one of my old roommates and friends who went to the same university as I to hang out for the day. So my husband and I live in Virginia, and my friend was spending over the holidays and these upcoming weeks with her family in South Carolina. So in between us was the state of North Carolina, and since we were so close, we figured we would meet up for the day somewhere in between, which turned out to be Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, I have wanted to check out Raleigh for a while. I was hoping sometime in the future to maybe do a weekend trip there. So I thought this was a fun opportunity to go and check out the city. When we first arrived and met up, we met directly at a brunch spot because it was relatively early in the morning that we went there, because it was about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive for both of us. And we met at this place called Driftwood Cantina. Now, we found this place because we had looked up a few, those online travel guide lists of what are the best breakfast and brunch spots, and this was one of those recommended places, and we thought it looked good. It was located within this small shopping center called, I believe it was Lafayette Village, and it was super cute. There was a small Eiffel Tower on the exterior that I thought was fun, and the whole shopping center itself was decorated to look sort of, European and French, I guess. We got to Driftwood Cantina right as they were opening, and now it's more of a Mexican themed restaurant, and so they had a lot of really beautiful murals and photos decorated throughout the restaurant. That was really nice to look at, and it had a nice lively environment. Even though it was so early, it was pretty empty because, like I said, it was right when they opened that we got there. It was still nice. We were hoping to get their brunch menu, which only actually had 4 items. You did have access to order from the full menu that they had, but we were going there specifically for the brunch, so we kind of stuck to those 4 options and made our choices. What I ordered was the tres leches French toast with strawberries and orange scented whipped cream. And then my husband and my friend both ordered, I think it was the chorizo hash, which came with eggs and I think queso fresco and potatoes as well. And so, to say the food review, mine was good, but I always find that, with something like a French toast, I'll need something savory in there as well to make it a bit more satiating and filling. So I did end up eating some of my husband's potatoes that came with his meal, but overall everyone loved their food, and it was good. Drinks were good too. While we were finishing up at Driftwood Cantina, we asked the waitress and some of the other employees there if they had recommendations on places to go in the downtown area, if there was like a main street or something that we could go to, because when we were looking things up, we were finding a bit of different results, but not like really a clear, main street of downtown Raleigh. So they gave us a recommendation. I'm actually forgetting what the name of the street was. Apologies if the camera just shifted a little. My memory card just lost space right in the middle of my sentence, but I think I was saying something along the lines of we asked for a popular main street to go to, so we went to that street. Apologies for forgetting the name. I think it started with a G, and we walked along it. And now this was where things got a little bit rough. It was just like, it was a Saturday afternoon and there was like nobody around, and there was just like nothing to do. I don't know if maybe we had asked for the wrong main street, but there were no like shops. Like, it was all restaurants and bars. There was no like little, trinket stores or like something you would expect on a main street. There was like an apartment building, and it was just very desolate. So I was like, ooh, it wasn't quite the, you know, lively downtown that we were looking for. So we ended up walking about 15-20 minutes to this nearby museum center. Now it was really cool. The first museum we went to was the what was it? The North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, and the museum was located sort of on the strip off of that main street where we had been walking, and on that like walkway there was the Museum of History as well as the Museum of Science. So we stopped in the science one first because we thought that would be the most exciting. I feel like science museums always have like cool interactive pieces, so we were excited to check that out. Now I have to preface, the whole trip and day trip itself weren't necessarily quite what I had hoped it would be. So I do feel bad about any like negative comments that I might have, but I'm trying to be fair with my assessment of the short time I was in Raleigh. So for the museum, there was much more people in there than were out on the streets. But as you could imagine, it was largely families with small children, a few people our age, and yeah. But the Science Museum, they had a really cool room. It was an enclosure where there were tons of butterflies, and there was a sloth in there as well, though we only got to see his arm move because he was kind of in his little box. And so that was funny. And normally you can go in the enclosure, I believe, but they said it was closed for now, probably because of COVID, so we couldn't go in there. But it was nice to see from the large windows that they had on the outside. At this museum, they had a ton of dinosaur skeletons. So hopefully in the clips you can gauge like the massive size of some of these skeletons. I thought that was pretty cool. And kind of scary. We were talking about how if you were swimming in the ocean and you saw these giant skeletons of sea creatures, that would be pretty terrifying. So yeah, that was cool. Now next, like I said, there was the North Carolina Museum of History right next to the Natural Science Museum, and we had some more time, so we figured we'd go in and check that one out. And I'll also add that both of these museums were free, so that was super great. Didn't have to pay anything to go in. So we went into the Museum of History, and they had, I think it was 2 floors of exhibits. The first one was all about North Carolina's history, and then we didn't even get to go to the second floor. By the time we had finished, we had needed to leave, so I'm not sure what was on the other floor, but from the map we were given, it looked like there were 2 floors. So we went around the North Carolina history portion, which was quite a big exhibit, and this is it was good, but there were some things in there that we didn't love so much. It's relatively common knowledge that North Carolina and the South has a complicated history with race relations, so there were displays on things like the Trail of Tears and Native American migration, things like that. So it's fine, like that is part of history, but the way that some of the topics were portrayed was a little bit off-putting to us. For example, in the, I believe it was, you know, the posts around like the 60s and 50s of how Black people were treated in the South, they had things like 2 doorways side by side, one saying colored, one white, and then you had to choose one of those doorways to walk through to get to the next part of the exhibit. So I get that they were truly trying to portray, you know, like the reality of what many people experienced, but it was a bit awkward in reality, being like, oh, I actually need to like choose which one to walk through. Just one of those things where I was like, they probably could have done a different presentation to portray what people experienced without making people experience it in real life, but maybe we were just being a bit sensitive, I'm not sure. Other than that, the exhibit was really interesting. They even had a whole cabin, like a house within the exhibit. I'm forgetting all the lineage of who owned it, but you know, it was an older cabin that had been passed down through a few families, and you got to walk through to see the little bedroom with the furniture laid out to show what it would have looked like with people living in there. I thought that was pretty cute. Now by the time we were done at the History Museum, it was about 3:30 p.m. and we needed to leave at about 4:30 to go pick up our puppy from our friend who was watching him that day. It was quite a short day trip, but we decided to grab some snacks before we hit the road again, because it had been about, 3.5 hours since we had that brunch. So we walked back to that main strip, that main street that we had been informed at, because we parked near there, and we stopped at this place called Anise Pho. So we ordered a few things, those sort of like snacky bits. So we got some Thai iced tea, we ordered crispy pork and shrimp shumai, and pot stickers. So overall, the food was okay. But I will say they had, oh, we also got the house special french fries. I don't remember if I said that, but the french fries, the house special was like this seasoning that they had on the french fries. And I've tasted it before. I don't know if it was like 5 spice, but it's some seasoning I've had before where it was all right when you first started eating it, but after a while, like the amount of the spice they had on the fries was too much. Like I just wanted regular fries, so we only ate like half of the fries. I was really sad about that. And it was also served with like a seasoned dipping sauce, so it was just too much. And but the shumai was tasty. It was pretty, it was pretty full for a shumai that I've seen, and pretty large. Usually they're like the small ones. And then the pot stickers were okay. We walked back to our cars and parted ways to begin our drive back to Virginia and my friend back to South Carolina. I hope this video was informative, maybe to share a bit of where to or not to go if you're planning to spend any time in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. I apologize if some things were more negative. I had hoped it would be a very exciting and super thrilling trip, but maybe we just didn't find the best spots. So let me know if you live in Raleigh and where I could go to check out the best places next time. Or if you're planning a visit, let me know if you found some cool places to see. So thanks for tuning in for another video. Feel free to check out some other videos that I have here. And I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye.